There are things that, once spoken, you can never turn back time to take them back. Not because they are shocking, but because they were shared with the wrong person at the wrong time, and sometimes, in the wrong way. In an era where every action, every word, even the vaguest emotion is recorded, analyzed, and exploited, you are unknowingly handing weapons to others. The secrets you reveal can be the gateway for bad people to enter your life. Stay until the end of this video, because this is not just a list of 5 secrets you should keep to yourself, but a lesson on how to protect yourself in a world where privacy has become a luxury. And don't forget to subscribe, because this might be the most important thing you do today to understand how to survive in the age of surveillance. 2. Never reveal your emotional vulnerabilities, especially to someone you don't truly understand. It sounds simple, but in an era where vulnerability is often mistaken for honesty, too many people expose their most fragile parts to the whole world, without realizing that some are not there to heal you, but are merely waiting for your weakest moment to strike. Try to recall a time when you honestly shared your loneliness, failures, or feelings of despair on social media, in a chat group, or with a new acquaintance you thought was empathetic. Are you sure that information isn't stored somewhere, misinterpreted, or worse, used to manipulate you in the future? You think it won't happen? But psychological scammers, from imposters, emotional exploiters, to professional manipulators, live off the details you think are small. Just knowing you're lonely, they know when to target you. Just knowing you're going through a crisis, they know how to appear. And when you're vulnerable, fake caring words can trap you in a toxic relationship that's hard to escape. I once heard the story of a man named Mark, a successful, kind person who had overcome many hardships in life. But during a crisis, he connected with a woman through an online support group. She listened, empathized, and was gentle enough to make him think he had found a savior. He shared everything, from the grief after his wife's passing, to how he struggled to sleep every night because of guilt and emptiness. 3 months later, he lost nearly $60,000 to an investment plan that promised to lift his spirits and finances. When he found out, the woman had disappeared as if she never existed. What you say about your emotions is not just stories, they are the mental map of your inner self. A blueprint of the most vulnerable corners you should never give to anyone who hasn't proven trustworthy. Stay alert. Be selective. And remember, not everyone who listens to you has good intentions. Don't let the need to be understood make you hand over control by mistake. If you've ever been in a similar situation or want to learn how to protect your emotions more wisely, stay until the end of this video. Subscribe now because the next part will help you recognize those who exploit you before they get a chance to act. 3. Never share details about your daily habits or routines, whether directly or indirectly. It sounds harmless. I go for a run every morning at 6 a.m. Every Tuesday, I stop by the corner cafe to read. I'm on a business trip tonight, back tomorrow. These sentences are often said openly, friendly, or simply as casual conversation. But they are exactly the little pieces of information that a person with bad intentions can piece together to build a complete map of your life, knowing where you are at what time, when you're not home, and when you follow predictable behaviors. And when your behavior becomes predictable, you become exploitable. In a society obsessed with sharing the journey, we are becoming open diaries, unlocked, unencrypted, and unprotected. Smart thieves don't need to break into your house to learn about your life. They just follow you on social media, or simply listen when you overshare in public places. There's a concept in security called the pattern of life, repeated behavior patterns that can be used to predict an individual's next actions. This is what intelligence agencies use to track targets. The scary thing is, you are building your own pattern of life, publicly, voluntarily, and repeatedly, just to gain a few likes, a few hearts, a few sympathies. Think about this. Would you willingly hand out a flyer with your daily schedule, favorite cafe, times you leave and return home, places you walk your dog, and post it around your neighborhood? Definitely not. But if you look back at what you've shared online over the last 3 months, you'll see you've done exactly that, only much more thoroughly and accessibly. Stoicism, once again, offers a sharp reminder: self-control is the foundation of true freedom. When you stop feeling the need to prove that you are busy, active, or interesting, you begin to reclaim the most precious parts of life: privacy, unpredictability, and safety. Remember, no one can target what they cannot see. When you become less predictable, you also become harder to harm. If this passage awakens something in you, hit subscribe. The next part will reveal a secret most people share, unaware that it can be exploited to control, manipulate, and harm their entire lives. Don't look away. For silence is not always a sign of weakness. Sometimes, it is the highest form of power. Maya's story is no exception. It illustrates a growing trend in the digital world, where we turn ourselves into talking targets. No need for close surveillance or advanced technology, just living your life without protecting your information is enough. And the scariest part is, very few people think they have anything to lose until they do. The problem isn't just oversharing. It's sharing with the wrong person at the wrong time, in the wrong way. In a world where everyone is connected, bad actors don't need a hammer to break in, they just watch you like a movie with clear subtitles. Where you go, who you love, who you just argued with, what worries you. They don't just see information, they see weaknesses. And they wait. Stoicism never teaches you to live in fear. It teaches you to live consciously. And that starts with understanding the value of silence. Not the silence of suffering or avoidance, but purposeful silence, where you choose not to let the world know every move you make. Because when you keep something to yourself, you keep control. It's easy to think, I have nothing important. But remember, you don't have to be famous to be watched. The truth is, ordinary people, with stable lives, steady jobs, predictable relationships, are the easiest targets. They don't have a security team. They don't suspect anything. They feel safe because no one has a reason to target them. And that's the biggest mistake. Think of your privacy as a light unseen by others, but illuminating you. Every time you choose not to post something, not to answer a curious question, not to reveal your personal schedule, you are building an invisible fence, a boundary others are not allowed to cross. This isn't coldness. It's strength. And if you need one rule to live by in this era, remember this. If you don't want someone to use it against you, don't let it leave your mouth or your screen. The next part will expose another type of sharing, seemingly harmless but capable of destroying your reputation, threatening your job, and breaking the most cherished relationships. Don't miss it. 5. You don't need to disappear. You just need to stop broadcasting every trace of yourself. People often think safety is about big things, locking doors, installing cameras, calling the police. But the harsh truth is, all protective measures mean nothing if you are the one opening the door for the bad guys to step in. Not with a key, but with data. Not by invitation, but through careless sharing habits. You've probably heard the saying, we are what we repeatedly do. In the digital world, you become the datafied version of yourself. You don't need to say anything, just live routinely, and if others watch long enough, they'll know when you're awake, when you're vulnerable, when you leave home, and when you're most at risk. The danger isn't in a single photo. It's in the bigger picture you unwittingly create by posting continuously. One check-in isn't dangerous. But 50 posts, each revealing a piece of your life, that creates a complete behavior map. And in the wrong hands, that map becomes a sharper weapon than any knife. Why should you stay silent about your whereabouts and routines? Not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough to know what's worth sharing and what's better kept private. Silence isn't retreat. It's a deliberate act, where you choose to control the flow of information about yourself. Just like seasoned strategists never reveal their true plans before acting, you also need to learn to keep the most important part, your timing and location, to yourself. We no longer live in a world where only close family knows personal details. Now, a single status update can be seen by thousands, including people you never want to see again. And if you think that doesn't matter, remember, the world isn't just full of kind people. There are those who don't want to harm you financially. They want to make you lose control. That's the power they crave. And when you share recklessly, you give it away bit by bit. Stoic philosophy doesn't teach you to shut your heart. It teaches you to open it selectively. Share with those who deserve it. Stay silent with those who don't need to know. Because sometimes, timely silence is not just smart behavior, it's the only way to live peacefully in a noisy world. 6. Don't confuse connection with exhibition. Not everyone who sees you truly cares about you. We live in an era where presence is defined by digital traces. Where, I post, therefore I exist. But it's dangerous when your existence depends on others knowing where you are, what you're doing, and how you feel. The truth is, you don't need to appear before the world to live fully. Stoics don't reject connection. They just don't buy it with self-exposure. They understand that the deepest peace doesn't need to be celebrated, it only needs to be felt. In a noisy world, deliberate silence is a form of strength. You don't have to stop sharing forever. But you need to start asking yourself, am I sharing for happiness or out of fear of being forgotten? Sharing born from fear never leads to true connection. It's just an echo of insecurity filtered through colorful lenses. Be alert. Some will use your vulnerability to draw an emotional map, not to empathize, but to manipulate. Sad updates, vague anger, moments when you feel lonely and empty, all become vivid material for those who know how to use them to control you. Not every gaze is a sympathetic gaze. Some watch just to find weakness. And the paradox is, the more you share to be understood, the easier you are to be misunderstood. In this world, your emotional language can be cut, condensed, and twisted into things you never meant to say. So the smartest thing you can do isn't complete silence. It's learning to keep your deepest parts for those who deserve them. Not every sorrow needs to be posted. Not every joy needs instant display. Some moments are meant to be lived, not proven. When you live like this, you don't shrink back. You simply stop living to be seen. You begin living to be truly felt. And when you're free from the pressure to expose yourself, you truly begin to reclaim control. No one can weaponize information you never give. No one can track a journey you don't publicize. And no one can manipulate you once you stop handing them the strings to pull. Choose discretion. Not because you're afraid, but because you know what's worth keeping. This isn't avoidance. This is maturity. 7. Anything you boast about becomes a map for others, sometimes for those you never want to have that knowledge. Greg's story is not rare. It is simply the clearest example of a silent but frightening truth. Accidental information is always the easiest to exploit. In a moment of pride, he revealed the location of his personal treasure, not with an ancient paper map, but with a detailed comment on social media. A few weeks later, his house was broken into. No signs of forced entry. No alarms triggered. The safe was opened with the exact specialized tool matching the lock he had described. Nothing was damaged. Everything was taken as if the perpetrator knew exactly what to do. And maybe they really did. You see, in this era, criminals don't need to follow you in real life. They just need to follow you online. Stories like Greg's are reminders. Not everything you share is harmless. In an age where data is currency, every photo, every status update, every accidental reveal can be pieced together like fragments of a criminal blueprint. Even scarier, you are the one handing it all over. We are often enchanted by the idea that sharing is connection. But some things don't need connection, they need protection. Home security is one of those things. If you truly feel proud of what you've achieved, share it in a private group with truly trusted people, at a time without risk, with details blurred or obscured. Because in a world where data can be collected and analyzed in seconds, one careless moment can result in irreversible loss. Remember, bad actors don't need to know where you are if they know you're not home. They don't need to see the safe if you've already described the type of lock. They don't need to study the security system if you've provided the blueprint yourself. Carelessness in sharing is the biggest door you can accidentally open. And once that door is open, you don't just lose belongings. You lose your sense of safety, something no lock or camera can ever buy back. So if there's anything worth keeping secret, it's the things meant to protect you. Don't turn them into invitations for others to explore. In this world, sometimes silence is the highest form of wisdom. 8. In a world where everyone rushes to speak, the silent ones become the most formidable. There is a strange paradox in this age of hyperconnection, where every coffee cup is photographed and every step must be posted. Those who choose silence become a mysterious force. Not because they have something to hide, but because they understand. True value doesn't lie in the gaze of the crowd, but in the inner security of oneself. Greg's story is a wake-up call, but it's not unique. Every day, we witness hundreds of other Gregs voluntarily drawing maps for strangers. From photos taken at front doors, accidentally revealing digital lock codes, to posts about long trips, implying the house will be empty, or even unboxing videos of valuable gifts, complete with the location of the home. What seems harmless becomes precious clues for patient observers. The danger of information is not in its detail, but in its context. A casual mention of a safe among close friends can be harmless, but repeating it on social media, in front of hundreds of strangers, is no longer a conversation. It's a proclamation, a signal, an open door, as Greg experienced firsthand. Perhaps we need to return to a lifestyle philosophy that Stoics have taught thousands of years ago. Epictetus didn't live in the digital age, but he clearly saw one thing: don't boast about what you are doing. Let the results speak for themselves. In the modern world, this means you don't need to prove your preparations to anyone. You don't need to explain where you hide your gun or store your gold. You just need to know you've done what's necessary. And that is enough. A secure home doesn't need validation from others. A peaceful heart doesn't need to be liked. And a steady life doesn't come from external approval, but from quiet inner strength. Learn to embrace silence. Choose your words as if you are placing each brick in the fortress of yourself. Become someone others cannot predict, not because you're hiding, but because you understand. The less said, the stronger it lasts. This world is not short of watchers, but it is truly lacking those who know when to stay silent. 9. You cannot control others' intentions, but you can control what they know about you. There is a truth few want to admit. Hurt doesn't begin when someone harms you, but when you hand them the tools to do so. And most of us do this willingly, through seemingly harmless shares, moments of pouring out our hearts, moments when we think we are being understood. We post on social media that we feel lonely today. We tell colleagues that our mother is seriously ill. We confide in a new friend that we still haven't overcome the emotional shock from years ago. We call it sharing to heal. But if you don't choose the right person, you are drawing a map of your vulnerabilities and letting it float on the river of speculation and ill intent. Jordan was not wrong to share. He was only wrong to believe that all listeners are kind. The world doesn't operate on innocence. The world operates on nature. And that nature is not always benevolent. In modern society, data is not just technology, it is people. Every piece of information you reveal, from your daily routine to your emotional state, is a puzzle piece. When gathered, those with intent can assemble a full picture. When you are most vulnerable, when you are isolated, when you are weak both physically and emotionally. And once they have that picture, you no longer hold the control. The wise are not those who are never weak. They are those who choose where to be weak. They understand that some pain should only be shared in safe spaces. Spaces with boundaries, genuine empathy, and silence that is not weaponized. Stoic philosophy reminds us, what lies beyond your control should not control you. And what you can control is how much others understand about you. Sometimes, strength is not standing up to tell your story. It is knowing when to stay silent. Protect your privacy as you protect your loved ones. Don't let the desire for connection draw maps for those unworthy. Because sometimes, those who know too much about you are not your friends, they are the ones waiting for their chance. 10. Sharing at the wrong time and place not only exposes vulnerabilities but also plants seeds for future pain. In the digital age, where everything is recorded and spreads at lightning speed, a careless remark or a casual confession can easily become a weapon against yourself or your loved ones. Every social media post, every seemingly harmless conversation at a cafe or a gathering with friends can become a map guiding opportunists, those who don't wait for a direct confrontation but choose to attack silently and more subtly. The world is not short of predators, but the most frightening thing is that these predators are not always people you can easily recognize. They don't always carry weapons or act violently. They infiltrate your life through every word, every share, every piece of information you consider trivial. When you reveal that an elderly family member lives alone, You're not just talking about a person, you're outlining security gaps and moments of weakness. When you share about your recovery journey, you hand over the keys to exploit your fragility. You might think openness is the way to gain understanding and sympathy, but the truth is not everyone wants to help. Some people are merely observing to find weaknesses, to exploit your pain in ways you never imagined. This danger harms not only your body or possessions but also wounds your soul deeply, destroying the inner safety you've worked so hard to build. Stoic philosophy teaches us a valuable lesson. Not everything you feel the need to share actually needs to be known by others. Stoicism does not encourage secrecy but values selectivity and awareness. Choose the right people to open up to, those who can respect and protect your privacy, rather than exposing yourself carelessly to the world. Wisdom is knowing when to stay silent, knowing who deserves to hear, and knowing that not everyone has the right to access your challenging story. This is not isolation or fear but protection of peace, preservation of your integrity and those you love. Vulnerability is a beautiful part of being human, but when abused, it becomes a double-edged sword that can cause wounds that never heal. So, consider carefully before you speak. Let your sharing be a source of strength, not the cause of deeper pain. And above all, remember that in this complex world, protecting your privacy is not shameful. It is a sign of true maturity and wisdom. The truth is, in today's connected world, the line between privacy and publicity is thinner than ever. Every post, every seemingly harmless story can become a link in the chain of information that malicious actors use to build a complete picture of your life and identity. We often get swept up in the comfort of sharing, believing that each status update or photo posted online is simply a way to connect, to be understood, or to be seen. But sometimes, those very shares become the keys that open the door to invasion and harm. Melissa, a typical example, was unaware that her openness on Instagram turned personal security questions, once thought to be private, into public knowledge before thousands of people. Details about her pet's name, hometown, first car, or school weren't just little stories meant to connect with friends, they were actual pieces in the puzzle of her identity. A person with ill intent only needs to gather enough of these details to bypass security layers, steal bank accounts, emails, or even her identity. This is not Melissa's fault, nor anyone else's who has ever trusted the safety of social media. We are taught that openness is strength, that sharing is the way to build genuine relationships. But in reality, uncontrolled sharing is a priceless gift to those who exploit it. What's worrying is that most of us never truly stop to seriously consider the potential consequences of those posts, pictures, or seemingly innocent comments. A wise approach is to choose the right channel and the right people to share with. These are private channels, real face-to-face meetings with people who have proven their trustworthiness and safety. It's also about turning to professionals, those who can help you process and resolve inner issues without exposing you to the world. In modern society, no one forces you to share everything publicly, and you don't owe anyone explanations for the difficulties you're facing. Another important step is to ask yourself before opening up, are you sharing to connect, or simply to be seen? Sometimes the deeper need is for understanding and empathy, but that doesn't mean you should put your safety and privacy on the line in exchange for fleeting validation. Remember, silence can be the most precious shield, and smart sharing is a powerful act. Life doesn't always need to be broadcast for you to heal. You can be strong, overcome hardships without exposing everything to the light. That is wisdom, the wisdom to protect yourself and your loved ones from unnecessary harm. Not long after Melissa realized the danger of inadvertently oversharing, her life was completely turned upside down. Her inbox suddenly flooded with alerts about suspicious activities, relentless attempts to reset passwords, and even her bank card was flagged for suspicious transactions. The feeling of being locked out of important accounts, combined with a series of troubles, not only wasted her time but also left a deep emotional wound, a betrayal from the very world she once trusted, openly and carelessly sharing with. Melissa wasn't hacked by some anonymous cybercriminal. She was hurt by the public exposure of every post, every joyful photo she had willingly shared with the world. This is how identity theft works in the digital age. Not a Hollywood action movie scenario with masked thieves stealthily breaking locks in the dark. It is a silent, slow, but effective process, where someone accidentally or intentionally gathers tiny pieces of information from comments, posts, yearbook photos, or short stories shared publicly. Seemingly harmless bits of information, birth dates, pet names, hometowns, or a funny school anecdote, when pieced together, form a detailed map of you. This map doesn't just reveal your age, location, and family network, but can also help criminals reconstruct part of your social security number or even plan sophisticated phishing attacks and scams. Once they know which apps you use for finance or shopping, bad actors don't have to guess. They impersonate those platforms, creating emails so convincing you think they are just routine notifications, then you accidentally click and fall into the trap. This is when Stoic philosophy is no longer just an abstract idea but a vital survival tool. Marcus Aurelius once advised, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not right, do not say it." In the digital world, this teaching is more urgent than ever. Stoicism teaches us to control what we can, and the first thing we can control is ourselves, including what we share and how we protect our personal information. You can choose silence instead of impulse, thoughtful consideration before posting anything. Ask yourself, who benefits from this information? Who might exploit it? And do you still feel safe imagining strangers with ill intent holding those details? Living by Stoic principles means treating your personal data as you would your own body, with respect, setting boundaries, and deeply understanding that uncontrolled exposure can lead to serious consequences. The solution does not lie in paranoia but in awareness and precise action. You can protect yourself by giving false answers to security questions, not revealing the apps you use for financial or online shopping transactions, and regularly checking your online presence. Review old posts, delete unnecessary information, and adjust privacy settings to limit who can access your data. Because in this digital era, silence can be the strongest shield, and awareness is the power that protects your identity, your life, and your peace. Once you realize that safety is not in sharing everything but in selectively sharing what is truly necessary, you will begin to live a freer life, free from fear of intrusion, free from the hidden traps behind careless clicks. In today's digital world, silence can be your most powerful weapon. When you don't allow strangers to build a version of yourself that you never authorized, you are locking the safety doors in your digital life, not just once, but thousands of times every day. Locking the door to your home isn't complicated, but it is extremely important. Similarly, your digital life deserves to be protected and guarded with the same level of seriousness. Melissa wasn't attacked because of carelessness. She was hurt because she trusted an online social system, a place where sharing is encouraged and caution is overlooked or even punished. However, we have the power to break that system. Not by fleeing technology, but by choosing silence when necessary, protecting those small seemingly insignificant truths until it's too late. Every time you ask yourself whether to share a piece of information, that is the moment you are safeguarding your own security. Have you ever stopped to think about what you've posted? Have you ever realized that a fun answer to a cute quiz question turned out to be how others exploit your personal information? Your story, your real experiences with digital safety, can be a valuable lesson for others. I encourage you to share it, to create a community that is not only vigilant but also learns and grows together. Those warnings can save people who haven't yet recognized the hidden dangers in every click, every seemingly harmless post. And if these words have touched your heart, don't stop here. The digital world is vast and full of even more sophisticated traps, and you need to equip yourself with practical strategies to protect yourself effectively. Click on the suggested video on the screen. There you will find specific, easy-to-apply methods based on proven knowledge to help you strengthen your defenses in a world where information is power. This is not about fear, but preparation for survival in the digital age. Stoicism in action, expressed through awareness and self-control, is the compass that helps you stay steady amid unpredictable waves of data. You are not just watching a simple video. You are awakening. The 5 secrets shared are not random tips but a personal firewall to help you fight against those who are watching, listening, and waiting for you to make a mistake. You don't need to live in fear, but you do need to live smarter than ever before. Protecting your life starts with protecting your personal data. That is the first and most important shield. Subscribe to the channel, follow upcoming shares, and most importantly, stay vigilant. I will continue to show you things that others often overlook so you can stand stronger in the digital world. If this content helped open your eyes, please share it widely. Perhaps a loved one of yours urgently needs this knowledge to keep themselves safe. Remember, your safety is your responsibility, but you are not alone. Together, we will build a stronger defense for ourselves, for our families, and for the entire community.